My fiancé grabbed and bruised my face in front of his mother, but she told a different story to my family to paint me as a villain. Now, they want me to apologize to him. My partner's mother lied and my family took his side. 3 days ago, my partner, his mother, and I were on our way to his sister's house for her daughter's birthday. Just the night before, my partner and I had an argument about kids. Nothing new lately. He wants one, and we've been trying for a few months now. Anyway, I said we need to see a doctor. He believes that we're both healthy and young, and if anything then we're doing something wrong. I was already exhausted from work and wanted to have some rest, so I didn't argue much, which only made him even more angry. I sat up and let him have his moment, then slept. The next day, we went to pick up his mother. I tried to start a conversation, but he just kept nodding. Now, with his mom in the car, I tried my best to lighten the mood so she didn't feel uncomfortable. 5 minutes or so, he said, "Can you shut your mouth for a minute? I don't want to hear your voice." His mother asked him what was wrong. All I said was I know what's wrong with him. He stopped the car and yelled at me that since I know what's wrong then I for sure know what an immature BTCH I am for starting a discussion with no intention to communicate. Mind you, he was the one who started it and refused to lower his voice and sit down, so we communicated like adults. All this time his mother was in the backseat just watching. I hate raised voices, and him screaming at me for an argument we had yesterday on our way to a birthday party we're supposed to enjoy made me lose it and snapped at him, "Can you stop f***ing screaming? Can't we talk about this when we're back home?" He grabbed my face and told me never to talk to him this way, especially in front of his mother. To this moment she said nothing. His grip on my jaw kept getting worse with every word. He had done this before but never used this much force. So, to take his hand off me, I tried to grab his wrist and push but ended up scratching him a little. I swear to God I didn't mean to. I just couldn't bear the pain and wanted him to let go. His mother suddenly decided to use her voice and started yelling at me for hurting him. I got out of the car and went to his side to check his wrist. I wanted to check his wrist too, but was afraid of him losing it even more. He brushed it off, told his mom it was nothing, and started the car again. Back home, he went straight to the guest room. I decided to spend the next night at my parents' house to decide what to do. My mother and he are friends. Anyway, I didn't say anything, but they told me later that night that his mother visited in the morning and told them about the fight. The thing is, she told them we had an argument without mentioning how he started it and wouldn't stop with all the screaming and how he grabbed my face, and only told them about me scratching him. Now my family lecturing me about how I should respect him and consider starting counseling. I told them how it went and tried to show them the bruise on my jaw, and they wouldn't listen because his mother couldn't possibly lie to them, and then the boy they watched growing up couldn't be this bad. But the daughter they raised can lie and be this bad? For God's sake, they know how I don't tolerate raised voices and avoid heated arguments at any cost, but none listen to me now except for my big brother. I have a stable job and can take care of myself just as well. I want to go back to break up with him and pack my things but can't even look him in the eye now for what he made me go through. He called and texted but like I said I don't even want to hear his voice. He apologized for what he did in a few texts. I'm thinking about showing them to my family, but I feel sad I need to do that so they support me emotionally. All my things are there and I never did this before because he's my first everything. I'm mad that his mother lied to him while my family didn't even listen to me. I'm thinking F them all except my big brother. Update: I didn't want to go back to my parents' house but had nowhere to go, which made things even more complicated. I was tired and all I wanted was to sleep, but my younger brother wouldn't let me. He kept trying to talk about it and repeating the things his mother told them. I literally felt like my eyes were going to shut on their own from exhaustion. Suddenly I felt his hand under my chin. When I looked up, his face was so close to mine, checking the bruise, and I pushed him. I know what I did was wrong, but at that moment he wasn't my younger brother or anyone I know. I just don't know why I push him. Not too hard but enough to make him back off a little. I think lack of sleep messed with my head, but still. When I realized what was happening, I apologized immediately, but he didn't take it well. My mother told him it was okay, she was just exhausted, and then said, "Why didn't you just show us the bruise yesterday?" I told her that's exactly what I tried to do, but you wouldn't listen. In her defense, it was covered with makeup and didn't look bad. Okay. She said my partner and I needed to sit down and sort things out and that I should apologize for the scratch too. She also offered to call and ask him to come tomorrow so we could talk and fix things. I was so tired of arguing with her, so I grabbed my things and got out. I'm writing this post from my hotel room. I sent him a long descriptive text where I mentioned everything that happened that day, even mentioned how it wasn't the first time but this one left a bruise. My big brother made it clear to me that he doesn't care if they are close friends, family comes first, and that he will bring a friend with him to help me pack my things when I'm ready. He also offered me to stay with him as long as I need, but I can't do that. He and his fiancé had a baby recently and her mother is staying with them to help for a few months. I don't want to make things hard for them. The only friend I have is on a business trip. She was supportive and said I can stay with her when she comes back Saturday, so I'm waiting for now. I can't help but feel like I'm overreacting. I do want to leave and act on it, but then again this thought keeps crossing my mind, that he's not always like this. I know I'm an idiot, I'm just sharing this with you because I can't be this honest with my brother and definitely can't say this to my family too. My brother advised me to not answer his calls and texts until I leave so I don't give him a chance to talk me out of this. My father called me this morning and apologized for not saying anything. He offered money. Update number 2. A few days after my last update, my brother and a friend of his went with me to pack my belongings. Thank God they did because we found his mother there too. My ex kept asking to talk with me in private, but both my brother and his friend told him to say whatever he wanted with them in the room. He apologized and asked me to give him another chance with his mother telling him to man up and stop begging the whole time. I called my friend to thank her again and let her know that I would be staying with my brother for the time being. I stayed with him for 2 weeks. Honestly, I didn't expect his mother-in-law to be that kind. Both she and her daughter, my brother's fiancé, were good to me. I tried to help with the baby, which helped me keep my mind off things a little and not feel like I was in the way. I mentioned in my original post that my ex and I were trying for a baby. I also mentioned in my first update how I felt tired all the time. I thought it was because I was going through a tough time, but I didn't know I was pregnant until I am scared. With everything going on, I didn't pay attention to my period. I started having period-like cramps the night before. I continued to have cramps the next day, which turned into bleeding, and it was like having a bad period, but the bleeding continued to worsen over the course of the day. I probably wouldn't have even thought I was pregnant if my sister-in-law hadn't told me that I might be miscarrying. I was 6 weeks along. Other than the miscarriage, which I'm still a little shaken by, everything has been good with me. I found myself a place 30 minutes from work. I'm adjusting. The last time he showed up at my work was a week ago or so. 2 of my co-workers told him to never show up again since he had no reason to be there, and he never did since. I have no contact with my mother and younger brother. She tried to reach me through my older brother, but he told me it's better if I stay no contact at least for a few months. Now I don't have to worry about a lot of things. I wake up relaxed and don't have to worry about messing something up. By the way, my first therapy session is this Tuesday.